The 14th generation, Maharaja Jahan Singh, in the sacred land of Mother India, since the beginning of history, great sadhaks, seekers, sages, and saints have been taking birth in the form of eminent kings. Also, because this land has always been the field of action of gods born as sages. Whenever dharma, ethical values, dwindles and the adharma, immoral practices begins to dominate, on all such occasions God himself takes birth in the form of man to ameliorate the condition of humanity. A man who swerves from his path needs the guidance of some superman. On such occasions and in such situations, God, the great Father of us all, vests supernatural powers in his favored devotees and sends them to take birth on the earth. That is why it is said, जब जब होए धर्म की हानि बढ़े असुर अधम अभिमानी तब तब प्रभु धरि मनुज शरीरा हरहि कृपानिधि संतन पीड़ा. Whenever dharma, ethical values dwindles, evil person or full of pride and low character increase in all such circumstances. The master assumes the body of a man, and the merciful God thus rescues noble persons from distress. The life of Maharaja Jahan Singh, the unique monarch of Kshatriya fighting class, Lodha dynasty, and Kashyap Gotra of the capital Bhojkat-Darawar, is itself a link of the same chain. He sacrificed his whole life for the welfare of the world. Inspired by the noble sentiments of his ancestors like tap, austerity, and penance, sacrifice, charity, and bhakti, devotion to God, etc., Maharaja Jahan Singh proved to be a very successful monarch. He worked extremely hard to maintain the immortality of the traditions of his forefathers. He used to say that so long as even a single bird in the kingdom was hungry, his taking food was a matter of a very dirty blot on his being the king. Once in the forest, on the bank of the river Ganga, a man-eater tigress wrought great disaster in the neighborhood. She assumed a deadly form and killed many beasts and wounded many persons. When the onslaught of the tigress became intolerable, Maharaja Jahan Singh himself took his arms and started on his horse to hunt and kill the evil tigress. Although he regarded killing of animals a sin, yet as the king he had the responsibility to protect his subjects also, hence he considered it a sacred duty to protect his people from the killings of the tigress. He wandered from one forest to another in search of the tigress. After a long wandering, at one place he saw the fresh prints of the paws of the tigress. He proceeded cautiously. Looking beyond a big cluster of trees, he saw the tigress fast asleep. Nearby on a small hill was a cave which she used for hiding whenever she was attacked. Maharaja Jahan Singh did not regard it proper to strike a mortal blow at a sleeping tigress. She might be a man-eater, but she was after all a female. He considered it below the dignity of a brave king to kill the tigress while sleeping. Hence, either he should strike at her after waking or thinking of some other plan. As he thought, an idea came to him. He took out a net from on the back of his horse. Quietly, he spread it along the trees and left the noose loose. The tigress caught the sound of the movement and got up puzzled and with the rage of a wounded lioness. But just as she tried to rush out of the cluster of trees, the noose of the net automatically tightened. Now she was a prisoner in the net of Maharaja Jahan Singh. When the tigress saw that it was impossible to free herself from the unbreakable cords of the net, after a while she surrendered. Now she stood motionless, because the more she struggled, the more piercingly the net pricked. Maharaja Jahan Singh had the idea that the tigress should be carried as a prisoner to the forest on the other side of the Ganga, which was not populated, so that she may never come to this way again. Accordingly, the Maharaja asked his soldiers to drag the tigress to the bank, take her across on a boat, and thence to the dense forest on the other side and leave her there. But just as the men began to drag her, the tigress gave a loud, stifled roar. At this, two very small cubs came out of the cave and came near the mother tigress. The mother, the mother cast a look of helpless affection, and tears rolled out of her eyes. She looked imploringly towards the King Jahan Singh and fixed her eyes, as if requesting, "Allow me to live for the sake of my cubs." Maharaja Jahan Singh spoke to the tigress. "You are to swear in the name of your young ones not to behave like a tigress but like a mother hare. Go, we pardon you today." And the noose of the net was loosened. The tigress came out, bowed her head once before the Maharaja Jahan Singh, and with her cubs she rushed and hid herself in the cave. After that day, no incident of killing by her were ever heard. Such great and merciful kings are rare, whose orders are even obeyed by the wild beasts of prey. What a power and spiritual grace must they be possessing! This is proved from their life and daily routine. Once a saint arrived in the beautiful garden of Maharaja Jahan Singh. Unfortunately, the saint got nothing to eat for 3 days, and he lay hungry in the garden without anybody taking notice of him. On departing with a heavy heart, the saint laid a curse that the garden of such a king, devoid of the duties of charity, should get dried up, as he could not get even a morsel of food. How could the word of a rishi sage be untrue? Because of the curse, ultimately the garden withered and dried up. There was a commotion in the entire kingdom. On being informed, the king came, and when he saw the condition of the garden, he fell down senseless. When he came up to his senses, he got puzzled and went to his Gurudev. On reaching there, he offered his Shashtang Pranam, prostrate salutations. After offering fruits and flowers to him, he asked with folded hands, "O Gurudev, you can see all that is happening in the past, present, and future. How could such a sin be committed by me in spite of my being under the guardianship and guidance of a seer like you, that my garden has so dried up?" The great Gurudev saw with his yogic vision and then said, "O king, a great sage stayed in your garden for 3 days and kept hungry for 3 days without anyone taking notice of him. You could not even see him. So on departure, he laid a curse on your garden being dried up." On hearing these words of Gurudev, Maharaja Jahan Singh's head began to whirl. This his body began to tremble, and the entire earth seemed to be in a quake. He spoke with folded hands, "O Master, What should be done now? Gurudev tried to console the king and suggested, O king, only a Pativrita faithful wife can nullify the curse of a saint. Otherwise, there can be no other power on earth to counter the curse of a sage or a saint or a sage. See, O king, a Pativrita like Savitri brought back the life of her husband from Yamraj, the god of death, himself, by the power of Pativrita Dharma. Mahasati Anusuya, the wife of Rishi Atri, forcibly conceived the three great gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, as her sons. Hence, if any Pativrita assuming the form of Shakti, goddess of power, pours down a karva pot with nozzle full of water at the root of each tree, then your garden can be green and animated again. On hearing these words of Guru Maharaj, Raja Jahan Singh returned to his palace. Back to the throne, he got it announced that according to the instructions of Gurudev, only a Pativrita could bring back his garden to life. For this, she would have only to pour a karva full of water at the root of every tree. We are placing a pan bida, chewing leaf packet, in the center of the city. Whosoever Pativrita wants to help us in this noble task is welcome to pick up that pan bida and chew it. She would get a desired reward according to the program. The pan bida was placed in the center of the city, and guards were appointed to see as to which woman chewed the pan. But the plan lay at the same place. The pan stayed at the same place in the same condition for 7 days. No one dared to pick it up. On the eighth day, Queen Rajrani said, O Maharaj, can I also be permitted to chew this pan? Raja Jahan Singh tried to argue with her, saying that she should first of all think well. If the prophecy does not come true, they would not be able to show their faces to anyone in the kingdom. Our family tradition would be tarnished. There will be no one on the earth to honor our dynasty. Hence, take the step after full consideration. Otherwise, we will face an unscheduled death. On hearing these words from the king, the queen could not withstand them. With folded hands, she submitted, O king, my guru Kashinath, from my early childhood infused the Pativrita Dharma and Tapasya austerity in my blood profusely. By the grace of Gurudev, my word will never be belied because the entire universe rests on the grace of Gurus. On hearing such confident words of the Maharani, the king was very much pleased and said, O Rajrani, I am very fortunate. I had not realized your greatness earlier, but now I am convinced. After this conversation, the Rani at once proceeded to pick up the pan bida and chewed it completely with enthusiasm. And lo, the king put up festoons of auspicious leaves all the way from the palace to the garden, and guards were put on duty to see and help the Maharani to reanimate the garden. While she did it, no unsocial persons were allowed to come on the way to the garden. The Rani reached the garden in due course and chanting the name of the most respected Gurudev, poured one karva each of water in the roots of every tree. And then she returned to the palace. The next morning, the garden was green again as before. The birds began to chirp as before. Nature began blossoming. The plants and creepers, every leaf and blade of the grass danced with joy and sang the praises of the Maharani. Such were the king and queens of that dynasty. Their tradition is honored to this day. They have won fame for the name of their elders and ancestors. The kings of the country with capital Bhojkat-Darawar have done such immortal deeds and have lightened the fame of the Lodhvansh and Kashyap Gotra in the whole world. Waves of joy rent the sky on the return of the Maharani to the palace. There was a stranger, calm of unbelievable respect. All praised the power of the Pativrata Dharma. The public started worshipping her like a goddess because she had really proved herself the manifestation of Mother Shakti. The king also was very much pleased and he was proud of her beyond words. Thus, ruling for a long time, King Jahan Singh also remembered the tradition of his ancestors. With the permission of Gurudev, on an auspicious day, at the right auspicious moment, Prince Himraj Singh was crowned with all religious ceremonies and full pomp and show. The king and the queen thereafter left for the forest for tapasya.